Greetings, Ron. Hello, everybody. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. All right, I kind of got cut off trying to do my show yesterday, but I'm going to go over a few things before I go into anything different. All right, I just want to say this before I start. I was just blocked from LinkedIn again, I guess yesterday, day before. Few of the UFO people are afraid to talk about what they deal with in a debate, in a live debate, off the line debate. They're afraid to stick up for what they claim and say out there that everybody else is buying their information for, their books and everything else. Now, let's see, who do we start with? Richard Dolan. He has a lot of books out there. He's on ancient aliens, and he kind of doesn't want to respond to one word I say to him. All right. So does Michael Sala, who's in Hawaii, another person that writes a lot of books about the government and what are weapons and everything else, but he's afraid to talk to me to defend what he talks about. He's from Australia. I told him to go back. I said, if you want to talk about government, talk about the army base in Australia. It's the biggest one in the world, and very few people even know that. But Richard Dolan, he says a lot of stuff. He has a lot of things from his ideas. He gets a lot of speakers to talk to him and everything. He believes a lot of what they say, which is fine. Kerry Cassidy gets a lot of people on her show. She believes a lot of the speakers that come on her show. See, people want to hear people say things, but if you don't have proof of what you're saying, it's totally useless. So now, what makes me different? All right, I'm telling you the experiences that I had. I'm telling you what you need to do to get your own experiences or to understand it. But if you're going to believe things, figure out where they come from, who wrote it, and why. I'm talking about like the Bible. All right. So the chat room is open. I will try to peek in it every once in a while. But I got to follow a couple things here. But people, this is time to get real, understanding what's really happening. Look at the truth, find the truth, bring it into your life. Greetings. All right. It's going to be a little complicated, but hopefully you're going to follow along. I had to get that out of the way because I am so upset. LinkedIn is probably one of the most weakest sites with truth or allowing truth out. AOL is another one that likes to cover up the truth. I mean, they put things out there, but if you put the truth out there yourself, they block you. So I'm blocked with Linked again, probably the 5th time now. I told them if I get blocked one more time, I'm not going to come back on even. It's a matter of being able to talk and talk without problems. Now, like I got my little dog trying to get in already, who always likes to sit at my feet when I do my show. I'm going to let him in before I start. Coming in. So I might have to let him out. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go over a few things that I started yesterday. Not sure how much you understand about it, want to know or anything, but there was a show. It was on TV about trying to prove Santa Claus was real. Crazy. But I'm going to say this. I'm talking from my own actual experiences I had. All right. And the first thing I want to say, Jesus was a human being. He was able to use 32 psychic abilities. He was the most spiritual person to walk the planet in my viewpoint. From all the lives I lived, and I lived many, from Atlantis to now. I do not talk from other people's writings. I don't believe many. I think a lot of them are twisted, partially true, maybe a little, but a lot of them are composed and put together to make a whole story. Even if you're doing a biography, unless you live with that person 24 hours, day and night, 7 days a week, how can you write who and what he is? Because you don't see the secret side of him. All right. Now, what I'm going to get into a little bit later is when I was in Atlantis, I was a male. When I was in Jesus's time frame, I was a female. I was really close to Mary Magdalene. She was my closest friend. And the important part of that is I got to be with Jesus near the end times, listen to him and all that. So what they say he said, what he actually said, and what he was teaching was so different. All right. Now, the different part is Jesus's actual mother had no abilities. She gave birth to an immaculate conception of Jesus, right? And that's what they made the story about. On the other hand, Mary Magdalene had 32 psychic abilities just as Jesus did. Jesus taught her, and she went through ascension. Ascension, people. Nobody goes through that. Everybody that claims they do, they're lying. If they went through the ascension, they'd have 32 psychic abilities to be able to use anytime. All right. Check out online, go into France, go into the temple where they keep Mary Magdalene's skull. She's considered the highest saint. Why? Because when she had to leave to protect herself, she moved to France. And she was teaching in France. But for them to call her the highest saint, obviously they believed in her in a great way. And it pulled up. The temple's outrageous, where they actually have the skull where you can see it. They said more healings, more things happen by being around that skull. They said if they actually use it, they think they could bring back the dead with it. All right, I'm just telling you what they said about it, what it looks like. I mean, I just got pictures of it recently. And for them to say that she was the most powerful saint, I'm sure they had something to base that on. All right. She had to finish teaching Jesus's disciples. Peter, who is one of Jesus's main disciples, did not believe anything what she was saying. And that meant, okay, what did he do? He didn't do anything. When Jesus died, he gave everybody probably 3/4 or half of his teachings that he wanted to give them. Love and protection were not the things he was teaching them. How long and how do you teach love? How do you teach about protection? You don't. All right. But what he did teach was real. I don't know how much I'm going to get into that or not. But here's the thing. When he died, when he was killed, his followers would have just went by the wayside. They said, oh, he's gone. It's over. It's all done. They still didn't know what reincarnation meant. All right. Incarnation meant either. Right. 2 words that we came up with rather recently that they didn't deal with in that time frame. All right. So when Jesus left, she was teaching the disciples, and most of them listened. And that's how they were able to see Jesus. Peter, on the other hand, if he didn't learn to listen to Mary Magdalene, he would have never saw Jesus. You don't have to believe that or not, but basically you can read in the Bible that she had to teach him. All right, and he had his problem. They didn't accept women as anything important ever. I don't think people understand that. Love was not in existence. So how do you teach love? The only way you can teach love is show it. Jesus showed what love was by being in love with Mary Magdalene, by having a daughter with him. She had a daughter with him. All right. Again, if they didn't listen to her, they would have never been able to see Jesus. That's what his teachings were about what happens in death and how soul never dies and all that. But what does it mean? What does it really mean? The Bible doesn't go into that, because the people who wrote the Bible did not know. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, guess what? only 2 of them were disciples. I'm going to get into that in a second, but here's the thing. Jesus' disciples weren't great writers. 2 of his disciples were able to write, and who knows how good. I mean, I didn't read their writings or nothing like that. But they didn't take shorthand. They didn't have tape recorders in those days. If I'm talking right now, how many words would you be able to write down what I just said? All right. If I talked real slow, give you space, time to write that, and then I said something else, you'd be able to write it down if you were even good at writing. But that wasn't the place. It wasn't the truth. So when Peter learned what he had to, he was able to see Jesus. Now, what's different is about Paul. He was a disciple of Jesus, but he wasn't with Jesus after he was resurrected, whatever word you want to use. But I want to get back to the original topic, which was yesterday, was doctors and people, teachers are trying to figure out, is it a good thing to tell children about Christmas, Santa Claus? And sure, you're going to get a lot of mothers saying, oh, my child loved it. It was a good thing for him. Did it help him learn anything? Did it help him understand life in any way? When we talk about things that aren't real and program our children with it, is it a good thing? No. What I said, if a shrink had to talk about that, guess what? They probably need a shrink if they think it's good. All right? You're talking about one lie. But see, man likes to take one lie and add 2 more to it, and then add more to it. They added other things like the tooth fairy, the Easter bunny, the stork, the boogeyman, and then they even threw God into that. So when a little child is learning and growing, how many Christians, how many Muslims, and what religion, Jewish people, teach their child anything important about a real God? Not the dream world, the illusionary world, the fantasy world, the love and light world, the real world. What does God think, feel, and how does it relate to planet Earth? I don't think there's too many people on the planet could go into that in any detail because they do not know. All they know is what the Bible says about it, which isn't much. What did God look like? What's heaven look like? What's going on in heaven? What's God's real thing with people? Did he love the dinosaurs? Did he love the cavemen? Did he love everything he created? I say he because, again, if I say it throws your mind into, well, God's not a it, it's a human. No, it's not human in any way. Never was, never will be. Can you accept that? Do you understand that? Most people do not. When somebody wrote in our image, no, God's not in our image. God doesn't think like we do. Think God goes into a spell where it's thinking about rape, murder, killing, stealing, and all those things? You think it cares about whether an ant's going to be stepped on or not? Do you think that's what God's attention's on? Of course it isn't. Hell was made for a reason. Jesus found that out when he stood with Satan for a long period of time. It was 40 days, 40 nights for a rough statement. But when we teach our children lies, how are they going to separate? How are they going to put the truth into all that? Well, make Jesus God, and then everything's okay, which is another lie. I want to say this over and over, but maybe it'll sink in someday. You might understand Jesus never said he was God. Nowhere did he say, I am God. When the phrase in the Bible says, I and God are one, it doesn't mean he is God, just because that's your translation. He was talking from a totally different time frame. Well, you're one with your family, hopefully. I mean, that's how you're programmed to be. But he meant a lot of different things when he talked, because he didn't use the real definitions because people didn't understand it, especially God's worlds. What do people understand about that in the Bible? Nothing. What do they think about the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, the bedroom? In God's worlds. What worlds are they talking about? Does any Christian know? Does any Muslim know? Does any other religion, Hasidic Jewish person know what they're talking about, realms in those worlds and what actually exists within them? I do. You want the truth? I'm giving it to you. You want to prove it? You have to prove it to yourself. You got to learn how to leave your body. You got to learn how to meet angels or your guides, whatever words you want to use, and let them teach you the rest to get to the point where you are able to understand that. And it's not just going to come easy. Spiritual truth is the hardest to attain on this planet. Satan's army's here for a reason. God doesn't want anybody going into the higher worlds that isn't totally aware being of what it is, meaning soul. And it won't allow it to happen. That's why it created little gods, lesser gods, deities, and I call them little gods. Because they have to go through that to grow. And if you know anything about Hinduism, Buddhism, and the deities and how they were when they were supposedly here and all that, was so different. Shiva, Kali, it was mainly sex going on. So how important is that? That's when they came up with Kama Sutra and Tantra Yoga, Tantra Sex, and all those words, thinking it connects one to God. They can believe whatever they want, but it's not real. Why did Tantra Sex and now I'm connected to God? Your body has five senses, and they tell you how exciting and how great it was, the experience, whatever it is. And that still has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with your soul. When your soul steps out of your body, it doesn't take the five senses of the brain. The five senses work out of the brain like a computer. Burn your finger. The brain says, oh, you burnt your finger. Kick yourself. Oh, I just got kicked in. I felt it. Or I kiss somebody. Oh, that feels good. Because your lip senses send a feeling to the brain. Soul doesn't have that body anymore. It doesn't have that brain. It doesn't think the same. And that's one of the most important things you could learn, understand, out of whatever I say. Because if you think because you feel good, you're connected to God, it's a delusional, illusionary idea. How can you be happy in hell? I can't. But here's the thing. All these things they try to make you think are not real. I'm going to go into the UFO world just for a little bit, and aliens and everything else along with it. Then they try to tell you everything else is fake. They won't admit the truth about things that are real. Why is that? Let me just check one thing real fast here. All right, yes, somebody mentioned the original Buddha. Well, there was 4 Buddhas. All right, and they all were considered Buddha. My partner's a Buddhist Lama, so yeah, I know all about that, but I don't accept everything. Deities are real, people. But they're not statues, they're not pictures, and you don't need to pray to them. I mean, even the idea that the God, quote, in the Bible, Jehovah, is a jealous God. Well, Jehovah was a jealous God, but he's not the God. All right? I'm not going to get into that too much because it's going to be so hard to understand half of the stuff I'm saying, right? The people go missing in the state park on a yearly basis. People just disappear, and they don't talk about that. Where are they going? How are they disappearing? Now, a TV, like I said, that about 4 days ago, there was a TV show saying Christmas was real, and they were trying to prove it by videos people took of sleigh rides in the sky, Santa Claus going down a chimney, and they talked about the dwarfs, the little people opening the door for Santa Claus to get in the house, how they get in the house. I mean, all these ridiculous stories trying to confirm it, by showing videos people took and showed. If we believed all the videos that were put online, we would know that there's millions and millions of aliens here doing all kinds of things, and all kinds of demons and everything else was here. But very real footage is out there, except rather recently. Over the past few years, demons, spirits, entities, and things like that are becoming more accepted and more provable, because there's multiple witnesses of the filmings and things that are happening. It's live on a TV show. It's live and things like that. And hearing a spirit talk. How many people want to believe in that or really understand it? And then when you talk to the average person, well, the Ouija board creates all the problems. No, it's not a Ouija board that creates anything. It's your mind. So, not saying that it's not real, but your mind brings the demons in, not the Ouija board. Oh, speak to us. Who do you want to speak to you? God? Who do you want to speak to, really? Gabriel? Michael? One of the 9 angels in the Bible? But in the New Testament, in Revelations, it talks about hundreds and thousands of angels. But again, this was a long time ago. I wanted to say this. The 9 angels, check out the names. All of them kind of relate and sound the same. All right. The last part of the word's the same as another word, and all the names are very similar. Except one name. I don't have my notes. I'm bad with words, but it's either Alphatron or Metatron, which is the name of an alien that must have been crossbreeding. One that came in the future to have a name like that. To come up with a name like that when everyone all the names, I should have them, a list, but I wasn't going to get into that in detail right now. But the angels weren't coming here to teach people. They weren't the people that came down. When Muhammad said he was with Gabriel, he didn't know it, but his brother told him he was with Gabriel. Really, how did his brother know who he was with? His brother worked with Gabriel? What's Gabriel teach? Read it. Read what was supposedly taught to Muhammad from Gabriel. Half of it contradicts the other half. And I really don't think an angel has to contradict what they teach or say or do. Considering they were protectors, they were bringing warnings. They weren't here to rebuild a house, or they weren't here to rebuild a car. They were here to tell you, this is going to happen unless you do this. When Lot was running out of the disaster that was happening, he was told not to look back, and his wife did, and she turned into ash. All right, because she was burnt by meteorites. It was a meteorite storm that hit. But I'm going to get into that. Let's deal with, what is going on right now, the conception of Jesus, aliens, and demons. If you go into some of these people that are Christians, they'll say all aliens are demons. Demons and aliens are different. The same as the little gods I call deities are different than God. They all have a place in God's world. And I mean all his little worlds that come down to this realm, which is hell. It didn't have to be. And it wasn't God's fault that it did become what it is. But because it did, it allowed certain things to happen. All right. When Atlantis was here, it was the Garden of Eden. The only time planet Earth was actually the Garden of Eden. Why? Well, everybody had 32 psychic abilities. You couldn't lie, couldn't cheat. Who and what you were by just looking at you. We didn't talk much. We didn't have to. We didn't eat animals. We didn't kill each other. We didn't abuse each other either. It was the only time that the world was in perfect balance and peace and a concept of love. They didn't say, I love you, I love you. No, that wasn't used then either. but it was the word I would use now would be respect. They all respected each other and the spiritual laws. The most important spiritual law, which I have to tell you over and over again because you might one day understand it, the law of non-interference. No soul, no person has the right to interfere in somebody else's life or being unless they're asked into it. So when a person says, I'm going to heal the world, they have no right doing that. They are not God. When a person says, well, I'm going to heal you, they don't have the right to do that. I mean, if a person comes and says, could you heal me? They can try to do it, but they aren't God either, so they really can't. What they do is they throw your energy back at you, and because you think you can get healed by them, you accept the healing, and it's really you healing yourself, providing your karma is just, which it usually isn't. Karma means cause and effect. All right. If your karma is bad, guess what? You can believe anything you want, but you still have to pay that karma off. If the karma is real bad, if you murdered somebody, you're not going to go in heaven and stay there, just so you know. Very few people get to stay there anyway, because the passions of this mind that we all have is controlled by 5 things. I'm going to use the religious definitions: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. Attachment being the worst. Being attached to cars, people, children, animals, hobbies. Well, I don't want to leave it. You come back to just do that again. But then you have all these other ones. And I say, today it's smoking, drinking, and drugs. Cheap thrills, sports, cheap sex. All right, are what controls the passion of a person's mind. Without them, they feel they have nothing, which in one way they don't, because they don't have any morals to bring them to a more aware state. Morals help you attain an aware state. Without morals, it's going to be so much harder to retain an aware state. Being aware of God, what it really is, what it does, what it doesn't do, how it affects you, how it doesn't. And nobody I met could even answer half of that, sadly to say, and they should be able to. Here on this planet, they're here to learn not how to beat people up, how to kill animals and eat them, and not that. That's not what you're here for. Even Buddha, when he stayed in a cave, when he went to awareness, it was 40 days. I mean, everybody likes 40 days and 40 nights. It's a good time frame. The same as when the killing on the planet is based on 10,000. 10,000 dolphins were killed. 10,000 whales are allowed to be protected. Or, I mean, it's always 10,000. You know why? You can't count 10,000 anything. I mean, if you had an army and there was only 10,000 there and they were all killed, yes, you could say 10,000 were killed. But when you got an army and just keep supplying it, when things keep getting supplied, when they keep killing these whales, nobody knows how many are being really killed unless there was a person on every single boat counting how many were killed. Numbers are really mind games. But the 3 most important numbers is 3, 6, 9. I mean, 69 they gave to Satan. 3, the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, which is not true either. It's God, soul, and spirit. Soul and spirit are not the same. They're totally separate entities. One is who you really are, soul. Spirit is the light and sound that comes from God that goes through all things. Big difference. And very few people can understand that or even know that or want to know it. They're so programmed by what they were told because somebody said so. Why is it people will believe something said a long time ago as truth? Because it was said a long time ago. Well, what would let's go with let's see, cavemen. What were they saying? Probably not much at all. Let's have sex, and grab their partner and had sex. Hey, let's build a car. Let's create free energy. What do you think they were talking about? Did they have any clue? Were they aware of anything? No, they were not humans. And they didn't become human, ever. People want to believe we came from cavemen. We came from a cell. No, we didn't. But people want to believe science. Science has no clue to anything. They have no idea of real history. They cannot tell you when the first white man was on planet Earth, or when the first red man was on planet Earth. Really? Or we all came from the black race from Africa. Bull story. Ridiculous. And if you keep saying when we mutated, why skin changes color when you mutate? If it was completely out of control, we wouldn't be humans at any level. Again, we'd be mutating into other things. Not the perfect entity, which we are, and we should be, but we create poisons, chemicals, and everything else that destroy our immune system, allowing us to get sick, and that causes us more problems. We're a very ignorant race, considering, and I'll tell you this straight out, we're probably the most spiritual race out of all the aliens that come here. I mean, from other planets, not from other countries. All right? And to make it even worse, there's 2.5 billion Christians, 2.2 billion Muslims locked into a program. Where are they going to go? If Jesus came back, they'd be hanging on his tail, grabbing his shirt, grabbing his sleeve, grabbing anything. Take me, take me, take me. Why? Why do you deserve to go? What did you do? What are you? Who are you? Do you even know? Do you know your own abilities? People don't. And I'll say this, when I was 12, I went into hypnosis. By the time I was 14, I became a high priest. I learned about the 32 psychic abilities. I learned about most of them. And I also learned one important thing that people will not learn in this lifetime. You cannot use them now. Any one of them. Even if it was levitation. If you believe that people levitated the pyramid together and all that, you can't do that now. One person with a levitation ability can levitate a building, smash it into another building, levitate all the cars and throw them into the ocean. It's not a good thing because we have no morals. The ability to understand who and what you are doesn't mean changing your sex, changing your body to make it look like what you think you should look like. That's not an aware being. It's a person stuck in his reincarnation of being a male and female over lifetime after lifetime without any understanding of it. Are you following that? Probably not. But, so, let me just see something here. All right. This workshop, please, if you feel inclined, send it to everybody you know. Tell them they could call me, text me, write me, Skype me, if they want to debate anything I said, or if they want to learn something about what I said, please. I'm still doing an online workshop, but I keep bringing it to reality because everybody needs to know. Not that I get 10 million people that I have to worry about everybody hearing or not. I'm not worried about it. Anybody that's ready to move on will find the truth somehow. They won't stop until they find it. Now, we're losing this planet. We're losing our morals, which we spent so hard to create. What they did to Christmas, why they added all these other things. All right, in a religion, let's start with the Christian religion. Can any Christian prove Jesus was God versus a real person? Well, in the Bible, he says he was God. When he stood before everybody and challenged him, they said, say you are God. And also he would say, I am what you call me. If we call them this, that, or anything, we call them stupid, we call them whatever, that's what we would know him as, not what he really is. When I leave this world, I left a couple books. I left some teachings out there. Hopefully they grow. But Jesus came and went. How many people understood one thing he was teaching? and followed through. Christians come out with forgiveness, Good Friday, and do your Hail Marys and all that. Never was. Read Revelations, people, written by John. And he talks about sins that cannot be forgiven. If you're a Christian, read it. Learn something you don't know by reading the Bible, which you said you did. I read it many times. I was going to become a preacher. But when I realized they do not know God, they know the fairy tales, the stories, the twisted lies. They don't know the truth about God. I'm going to try to get into it. Now, in the word Muslims, 2.2 billion Muslims. Look at the way they treat women. And you think we came a long way? I mentioned about the Hasidic Jews, what they do to women and all that. I'm not going to go to it again. That's so disgusting and horrible to believe man would let a rabbi find out if his wife's a virgin. And if he did, she was no longer a virgin. I'm going to get into that real fast, but maybe if they knew what Jesus was really teaching, this world would be a better place. But look where we are, 2,000 years later, and religion hasn't grown much at all, except two religions. Shab Yoga, an older religion, and Ekankar, a new religion. Both of them teach you one important thing: how to leave your body. The most important thing you can learn. Because once you do, you realize you're not this body no more, and so is not the body. But until you understand that and know it by your own experience, it's all a lie. Now, something else people don't really understand. Buddha talked about karma. That was like its biggest teaching. Karma means cause and effect. What you cause is the effect, and you are the effect of that. So what did Jesus say? What was said in the Bible? You sow. Okay, the saying, what you sow, you shall reap. All right, meaning what you do, you are responsible for. Period. It's not about forgiveness. Paying off karma is not easy. And when you understand it, you'll realize why you're on planet Earth and why you keep coming back. Because you don't know how to stop creating karma. That's why when the Catholics go back to every Friday, why did this? I'm going to say 100 Hail Marys. Come back next Friday. Why did this? Jesus said, go out and come and don't come back no more. Saying don't sin no more, if you want to get it technical. All right? Did they? Did they understand that? Oh no, he'll forgive us. I can do it. I'll get asked for forgiveness later. When the Pope came out and said hell doesn't exist, Adam and Eve was a fake story, and he wants to rewrite the Ten Commandments, who is he to do that? He's the fountainhead of a religion, but when you change it, it's no longer the same religion. I said he should make a new religion. He has a site up. Whether he's involved with it really or not, I say create your own religion, then program to believe what you want. I'm going to repeat this, people, because Mr. Pope said, I'm creating a temple next year. Chrislam meaning Muslim. It's going to be a joint church. Are they going to believe in the same God, the same lies, the same twisted stories? And whose stories are they going to follow? When they came out the New Age churches, you could believe a Catholic, you could be a Catholic, Protestant, Jewish person or anything and go in there and, love and always use the love to cover up anything else. Do you see love changing the planet in any way? Relationships are getting worse over the past 25 years than they have ever been. So is love helping that? It's man's so-called love or woman's so-called idea of what love is. A program, because they don't know what love stands for. Love stands for God. God unless you know what it is. Well, I love a tree because I see a tree, but I love God because in the Bible it says God is what? All that you search for, all that there is, all that you need. If you find it. All right. When children are told about things being real, like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and then they throw God into it, what's a child learn from that? When years later they find out they were all lies, and now God's real. Their parent can't describe God. The same as they can't even tell you what Jesus was teaching today. Nobody can. And I will put my life on the line and give it up for that reason. Jesus came here to teach certain things. His disciples were killed if they were caught doing any kind of form of the teachings that Jesus gave them. Only a few disciples survived. Thomas went to India and was teaching. And that's when they turned around and said Thomas was God. Thomas was Jesus. They didn't have birth certificates and ID cards then. Because he had a beard or whatever. He was wearing this kind of robe. Well, he must be Jesus. Because he's talking about God. All right? People don't want truth. They like to live in their programmed little peaceful thinking where they are. Is anything peaceful right now? But when a child goes through this awareness that their stories they were told were lies, and do you think it hurts them? And that's what the original thing when I said in the beginning, doctors are trying to figure out, and parents, or it's a good thing having Christmas. Giving Christmas packages one day a year is beneficial to the world? How about once a week, once a month, or whatever? Why one day a year? Let's wait all year, spend all money for one day, and then it's over. What happens the day after? Like today, what are you doing? Are you listening to this? Guess what? You're doing something important to yourself and for your soul. Whether you understand it or now, soul is listening. Soul hears everything. If you're talking bull, you're talking whatever, soul can hear that too. But you think soul wants to listen? When soul tells the body something and it tries to force it upon the mind, is the most important experience that's going on within your reality. Because now mind's fighting who you are. All right, I didn't give the technique yesterday, but I'll give it to you right now. And this is a simple technique you need to learn. How to listen to soul. Soul is separate than the mind. I'll give you the same scenario. Maybe I should give you a different one. But all right, you have a can of gasoline in front of you. And you're starting a fire. And you're going to throw the gasoline into the fire. And something says, don't do that. It's dangerous. And everyone says, go ahead, it'll be okay. Who do you listen to? And why do you listen to one of them and not the other? Most people don't like to listen to spirit. So you pick up the gasoline and throw it in the fire and it blows up and you get burnt. Oh, maybe I should have listened to the other one. Maybe. But see, soul is aware. It's not living in the second to second time frame that we live in. It can see past, present, and future all at the same time. When you are soul, that's part of the psychic abilities that soul has. If you're aware of it. But people don't use it. But the only time you use it, you're sitting in your car, person turns around and says that, you turn around and stare back at them. Why? Because that energy just hit you and you could feel it. But not much more is done with that. It's a lot real. When you go into auras, when a person's aura, a person always has an aura. If you look hard or simple, either way, you can see it. That aura radiates who and what they are. And a person can't change it. If his aura is blue, he can't change it red. If it's red, he can't change it blue. His aura is what soul's vibrating at in this body. All right. And that's learning how to detect people you should be around and should not be around. Sure, you always take, well, I can get away with it. You can. But when karma comes back, if anything bad happens, it comes back. All right. Now, when children talk to things, well, there's a demon in my closet, or I'm talking to my little friend, and all the movies make it into a really horrible thing. All right, which it's not. But without the right teaching and protection, a child doesn't know that a demon's a demon, and an angel's an angel. And a parent doesn't know either. So how can a parent teach a child anything about something that it doesn't know? It can't. So children have to grow up in this place. They're working with an angel, which I did. And your mother says, it's not real. Let it go. What do? Listen to your mother? I worked with a deity from 6 to 12. And I was trying to talk to my mother, and she said, don't believe any. It's all not real. Let it go. I kind of tried to erase it for a year out of my mind. Didn't work. I'm glad it didn't. I was 14 and I was still a Protestant. And then I asked my minister, what's God look like? Nobody knows. What's in heaven? Nobody knows. What do you do in heaven? Nobody knows. Nobody knows nothing. So why am I going to follow your stupid path? In belief what? That it's going to be good? Who said it's good? How do I know it's going to be good? Good for what? Well, you'll meet your family up there and you'll be able to talk to them. About what? I was bored of my family when I got married. I left my family not to be with my family. And now you're going to spend infinity with your family talking to them about what? What do you people look for? What do you want to find? What are you willing to give up to be in that space? Awareness. Spiritual awareness. I have met very few souls, if any, that have any of that in reality. Talk is cheap. Very cheap. And people will buy it. The more I talk to you, how come everything you see on the internet now, if it's about a chemical, a drug, or a medicine, or even a toy, and they go on for a half hour about it, it's programming you. If you see an ad that says, this is the one food that can make you deathly sick, you got to listen to a half hour about it before they tell you what the fruit is. Just say bananas make you sick, and then tell the people what, how, and all that, if they want to hear it. No, we're forced to hear the story, the programming, before you get to know what the truth is, if it's a truth at all. So when a parent tells their child that it's all fake, what do you think happens to the child? What do you think happened to me? I said, no, it's real. I know it's real. I met a deity. I met her when I was 6 years old. And she took me out of my body, and it was a female deity, took me places and taught me things about the inner worlds, the higher worlds, whatever word you want to use. Not about growing corn or building a car, none of that. But there is a place called the astral plane where, okay, people go when they die. And then there's something inside that place, the Akashic records, which is, imagine a giant crystal programmed with you. Everything you did, going to do, and are is in that crystal. And you can look in that crystal and see it. Well, what am I going to be doing next year? What am I doing when I die? What am I going to do? It's all in the Akashic records. Nobody has the right to read somebody else's Akashic records. And that's the first law of non-interference. When somebody does that, they create instant karma. John Lennon was right on when he said, sang the song, instant karma is going to get you. It will. Instant karma means you can't pay it back because you got to deal with it now. I live in instant karma. In one way, it's good because you don't create more karma. Because when you go through the instant karma, you don't want any more karma. But if it's being stored and you don't have to pay for it right now, and people say, oh, I'll get away with it. You speed down the road 75 miles when it says 40. Every day. Oh, I got away with it yesterday. I got away with it. Sooner or later, there's always that chance. will happen that you do get caught. Karma is a game for some people, thinking they could escape it, give it up, give it away. You can't. It's your glue that holds your soul with this body. How do you take when you reincarnate? That you have to take. Nobody picks what. All right. A lot of so-called spiritual people say they pick the bodies they choose to come back in. If they choose to come back, they're not spiritually aware of who and what they are. Why would you come back to hell? Nobody's mission is to save the world. Nobody. Jesus didn't come to save the world. He did not. He came to give a teaching to people that were ready to learn and find out what God was. And that's completely lost in the Bible. And that's sad. The most important thing he came here to do and teach was never even put in the Bible. All right. Childhood of children in abuse like I was in and stuff changes you for the better? No. Abuse can't make a person better. It can make you more aware, which I say I'm completely aware now. And I got a book coming out real soon. Hopefully I'll get it finished real soon. It's about the worst crime on this planet: sexual abuse, child abuse, and the bad word called rape. All right. And before I go any further, if you're following this story, I'm not going to say names of the person that was in jail and killed himself because he had too much information. Another lie. The woman that was with him was put in jail, and she came out and released 125 names, and they're all being arrested. There's a whole list more. Whether she's now, people think about this. Is she going to commit suicide? I'm sure they're going to try to make it look that way, but it's going to be really stupid if they try to make it look like she committed suicide. She said if she goes down, she's taking everybody with her, which she's doing right now. But realize all those bad people, including the Queen and everybody else that's involved, it went back, way back past Clinton's time even. I mean, Hillary's time, because she was involved with it, the whole thing. All of these people were. Guess what's going to happen? All this money that will be spent to stop it. How do you stop a person from speaking? I mean, I speak, but if I'm talking about God, people don't care, including the government. If I was talking about all the secret bases and what they were doing, it would be a different story. But see, the thing is, the New World Order has their own game. And MJ-12, which is the government-controlled secret movement that Trump created to protect the world against the whole alien idea. All right. They each have their goals, their rules and regulations. But the truth of UFOs is going to have to happen soon. And it's not going to be by the government. It's not going to be disclosure. It's going to be open, showing you what it is. I see ships every night if I go outside. I film them. I saw 2 this morning. I have this light ship blinking at me. So it's all real, people. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's your choice. But what are they doing and what do they want? Nobody out there, except the person I do a show with on Tuesday, can tell you in great detail what. You can say and make believe stories and say, well, somebody said they're good, somebody said they're bad. Well, there has to be good and bad. No, we are what we are. We are not good or bad. We're the same. We get in a situation, we become bad. We get in a situation, we become good. But it's not like, oh, there's bad people, unless you're talking about demons, and they're not in a physical body. People, you need to get your act straight. Why am I saying this? Because I'm not here to play games, to make you feel good, to make you laugh, and make you be happy. Life sucks. It really does. Living in hell isn't the best place to be. And when you believe it is, you're in serious trouble. You're on a planet. All right. Getting back to what I'm getting into with this whole story. She released these names, all these people coming out. You're going to see 123 people arrested that are involved with politics. The whole politic line is in it, in detail. Child slavery, child transportation to other countries, sexual trade, and all those words. They're all part of it. And they're all involved. It's probably going to be the biggest scandal ever to come out. Close to what this is going to bring out. All these people involved with doing the most horrible thing there is to do. Stealing money from a person, robbing a bank, and okay, but stealing children, selling their body parts, selling them as slaves, or everything else. It's disgusting, horrible. And you call yourself human. And now you're going to blame that on God too? Why do you think Jesus came here? Because nothing changed in 30,000 years. When aliens came down and destroyed Atlantis, the Garden of Eden, they created killing, murder, rape. All right? Killing animals to eat. We did not eat animals. There was no reason to. Not that there was that many animals here, but we didn't have to kill them and eat them. All right? The caveman was killing dinosaurs to eat them. And the science is only getting to the point where they realize dinosaurs did live with cavemen. The hieroglyphics show them killing them and things like that. So guess what? They had to be aware. And they had to eat. What were they eating? What meat did they eat? What were they killing? All right, I'm not going to go into that because science is so screwed up. And they feed you false lies about everything they tell you. Every drug you take is a poison to your body. Your immune system's not accepting anything that's not normal. It was made perfect, people. When we are all perfect, we were. The soul and the body worked together and lived in harmony with each other. Along the way, a program came in and says, oh, well, you're not that, you're this. You're a killer. You're a strong person. You can beat people up. You can do a lot of things that being in this circle and kissing each other and just hanging out with each other. Whatever. It destroyed the human race. When Atlantis went down, we became more evil. Then you can believe the other stories. The UFO people like to push on you. Well, the Anunnaki made us. They didn't make us. God did. When you believe an alien race, a sick, perverted alien race made humans, something better than they are, we're going to make things. We're cloning animals and humans together. We're not going to make better humans. And they're not going to become spiritual. Mankind in 30,000 years did not create one spiritual thing. Check it out. Prove me wrong. Humans don't create anything positive. Men only create toys to play with. Is that a good thing? Of course not. Sports is useless. All the money going into sports. Why? You want to play? Play for fun. Don't play for money. When money gets involved with anything, it becomes corrupt. Period. Jesus said it many times in the Bible, 3. He said it many times outside of the Bible. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to go into heaven. Why did he say that? Why would he say it? Because it's an actual fact and it's true to this day. Period. No rich person on this planet is spiritually aware. Oh, tell them that. Let them tell you, oh no, I'm spiritual. I go to church on Sundays. I what? I donate money. How much money do you know? In religions, you're supposed to donate 40% of your salary. 40%. Think Musk is going to rent 40% of his salary to the church? Gates going to donate 40% of his salary to the church? When they donate $6 billion, and I wrote him a letter last week because he goes, well, I got to put 9%. He said, I got to pay $9 billion taxes. I said, what percent of your money is that? 2%? 10% max? Really? And then you have no tax. You have a complete tax write-off and you don't have to pay taxes ever again. I mean, the whole thing, it's all lies, twisted, and it's in the name of money. And then when you say, who controls money? Money's not real. Who's controlling the people that believe it's real? Who's controlling Gates? Who's controlling Musk? Who's controlling Icon, Bosco, Bascio, whatever. The three richest people on the planet right now. You know, Putin's one of the richest people as well, and they don't talk about him. But he came out between 3 and 6 months before Trump was elected, and I'm telling you, this is a fact, and nobody ever mentioned. And it was translating it when I was listening to Putin speak. I had somebody else tell me what was going on. He said, Trump, I want you to tell the world about the truth about 9/11, what really happened. I want you to tell the world about what you do with aliens. Then he said, we are working with 27 alien races. Putin said this. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Destroy the planet. What would that mean, people? And what would it mean to Putin? What about the space program and all that? What's it mean? Do you have a clue? And then why, when Trump meets Mr. Putin and they sit there for 2 hours in their private room, Trump comes out and goes, I'm creating a space army. And that's all he ever did about that. And then a week later, he goes, I want to be president when we land on Mars. All right. So he knows a hell of a lot more than he says. When they ask him about it, well, I don't believe in it. I mean, his son was asking him about it. And he said, well, not that I follow it or accept it. Area 51 being one of the most critical places on the planet, including most of the United States. Because in I started lecturing in 1996, 97. I met Sean David Martin, who just got out of jail. He's dying of cancer and all kinds of things because the government's trying to kill him, but they can't. Filmed the motherships landing at Area 51. He used to bring a van up there. Asked me so many times to go up with him. And they watched the ships come in, the giant motherships. Well, guess what? They bought all that land around it and made it the hardest place to go near now. Why is that? What is so important? The war zone. Anything related to aliens is considered a weapon. When they spend $5-6 trillion a year on weapons, it's part of the space program, people. And who knows how much it is right now. But nobody gets those figures. And where's that money really coming from? There is no such thing as money. And when they go to paper money or computer money, where do you think that's coming from? Mankind's being programmed, deprogrammed, and reprogrammed again with more junk. Is that what Jesus came here to teach us, tell us? He said, no, you need to find God. Find God. All right? And that's what you need to do in a lifetime. Because when you do, you don't have to reincarnate. You become aware of what you are as a soul being. You don't become part of the soul consciousness. Why would you want to? Most ridiculous space in reality to go into. Would I want to be one with anybody on this planet? No. Would I want to be one with a rapist, murderer, killer, robber, thief? No, I wouldn't want to be one with them. Why not? When you say one with everybody, why? Why would you want that? All the drinkers? About between 80 and 90% of the planet all drink? I mean, people with no money don't get to do anything, but people with money, then they have to add drugs to it to survive, to be happy. Is that part of Jesus' teachings? Of course not. Does anybody know what Jesus came here to teach? No, they don't. And do they care to? No. They want to believe God's going to protect them. For what? Dying? No, they're going to die. They're not going to live past 125 in this lifetime. And they're not going to go to higher worlds. They're not going to go to many rooms in God's mansion. They go to one, the astral plane. And then they reincarnate back here. But are you ready to take that step? Are you working to find it? Are you willing to go further than you have ever gone to get to that space? Once you know it's real, then everything's over. You got to play the game until you can leave. And you feel that you paid off your karma, you can leave instantly, just like that. I've had 5 death experiences. The last one, straight out, you can stay if you want to now. And at that moment, I thought I did. I thought I wanted to stay. And then I said, no, I want to do one more book. And my newest book, which is the one that I have out, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. But are you ready to take a step into the truth? You want to realize that aliens could be here. They might be here. What do they want? What do they want to do? They're going to tell you. They're going to teach us what? How to build a better house? How to build a better car? How about to better create better weapons? Tesla gave us the most dangerous things on the planet today. The HARP system, quantum physics, time travel. All things that will destroy mankind. Give a guy a gun, he's going to shoot it sooner or later. Give a guy a nuclear bomb, they're going to see what it does sooner or later, which Russia, China. Hawaii sends bombs up on top of the mountain even. Why? Well, let's see what they do. They hit a meteorite with a bomb. And this happened maybe 9 years ago. I'm not sure. I'm just making the date up. It was a while ago. They hit the sun with 3 blue bombs. Why? We had 3 solar flares that hit us from it. What did they attain? Do you remember when they sent a bomb off inside the moon? Nothing was ever said, and they blocked it out on TV when it was happening. Why is that? People, do you listen? They'll say, oh, we're going to do this, and they're not going to show you what really happens. China's supposed to release what they actually see on the moon right now within the next 2 weeks. There's an object there. And they're going to show it to you. Might look like a square box. Remember when we started to find those cylinders around on the planet? They said, well, nobody knows. And it just came and went. Nobody cared. Somebody said they must have been placed there in the middle of a desert for some reason. You don't get the truth. Truth is lacking from everything you hear, see, and read. Why am I trying to give you the truth? I don't know. It's probably useless. I know a few souls that listen to me. Listen. And they care. Life's not a game to them. Life is real. I mean, if you believe in Buddha's idea that this is all an illusion, what a sick, perverted, twisted illusion. Why am I in it? Why do I want to be in it? Why would you want to be in it? Ask yourself, do you want the truth? You want to know what aliens are really doing here? Why Mr. Putin would say 2 of them want to destroy the planet? Why Mr. Gates is doing what he's doing, buying all the land, trying to get rid of cows, trying to make us eat synthetic meat because cow farts and destroy the ozone layer. Science just said 2 years ago they could replace the ozone layer within 5 years if they wanted to. What's with that? Do you listen to anything that's told to you even? Now, the Illuminati and the New World Order, kind of the same. I can't go into the difference my own way, but Denver Airport was created by the New World Order. It said it in steel in the floor. 30 feet circle said U.S. New World Order. It had the big capstone there with all the presidents' pictures and statues and things there. And then it had these murals of 5 different races being killed. All right. Now, what was that all about? They have to tell you what they're doing. It's called UN Agenda 21-30. It'll happen by 2030. We will be under one world order. I'm saying things change and dates change, but they usually happen later. So when they planned this in 1993 or 97, I don't know. I'm bad with dates and names. When 193 countries agreed on it, guess what? It was being implanted into reality. Denver Airport showed you the destruction of the black race, the Jewish race, the Indian race, and the yellow race. And they put the symbols around, so you couldn't say, well, that's not black people, that's not yellow people, that's not red people. All the symbols of a race of people were put around us. There was 4 murals in the airport. They were taken down and put underground in the underground cities. But they put 2 up there, the one where you see this guy with this tear gas mask and machine gun and machete, and all these women running with children in their hands and bombs blowing up everywhere, in the middle of the Denver airport. And nobody even asked, what's that supposed to mean? People are so ignorant, so programmed. All right. Give me 1 split second. The little munchkin wants to leave. Goodbye, Gizmo. So, people, it's been a while. I've been talking. I hope if you're still here, I give you kudos, whatever you want to call it, that you even stuck around. Most people can't. The truth bothers them. And people think karma. I just read it now. Sorry, I read it just now. When people live in hell, they think paying off karma is supposed to be fun. Go to a psychic and let him take it, and it's all over. Really? Pay a couple dollars and it's gone. People believe what they're told. Don't believe anything. Don't believe one word I say. And all I can say, I'm giving you my ultimate truth from 69 years of my life. And if I'm lying, I'll let God be the decision maker on that one. Do what you want with me if I'm a liar. Quantum hypothesis is not what Tesla created. He created time travel. He created that. If you watch the stories of like the movie that came out where there was 2 magicians and he was using Tesla's knowledge to transport something. Transportation is quantum physics. It's not a theory. It's not even a hypothesis. It's real. And if you find out anything about MJ12, they can open up a vortex and stick something inside it and close it. And then it's not there until they open it up again. So when you go into time travel and all those other words, it's not fake, it's real. It has been done, happened, all because of Tesla's sick, perverted gift from alien race, which I do not know what race it was. All right, now, let's get back to, I don't have too much time. I've been on this for a while. How much of the Bible can help people in life? Creating a belief system in a person makes it better. You could do things and say, well, I'm forgiven, and believe it. Is that making anything better? Really, people? Come on. Are you that brain dead? When Mr. Musk, came out a month ago, said, people, you need to be aware of what's going to happen with artificial intelligence. He said it. He said it on the internet. Everybody should have read it. What did he say 2 weeks later? 2 weeks later, he comes out and says, well, I'm going to make sure that robots take away all the simple, useless jobs. Simple, useless jobs means all the poor and middle-class people's jobs. All right. So he contradicted himself by saying he's doing what's going to be wrong. And now, just so you know, China's releasing 2 cars in the next 3 months. Both of them are supposed to be better than the Tesla car. One's a little more money and one's a little less. There's 2 Tesla cars. The cheaper Tesla car, they have a cheaper one in China that's supposed to be better. And the expensive Tesla car, they have one that's better, that's a little more expensive. Completely soundproof glass, you name it. See, I don't know how the United States works, but I skipped over what I wanted to tell you when I was talking about it before. I'm sorry about that. I go in cycles. Well, with the release of all these people involved with the sex thing, it's going to be the biggest scandal, but it's going to be the biggest problem. All these politicians, and it's going to rearrange everything. I mean, it might be a really good thing for Trump. It might be a really bad thing for Trump. Mr. Biden got rid of 2 people that were Trump people. And I said, well, if he's president, why don't you get rid of them all while you have the chance? I'm bad. I believe in truth. Not that Biden's better than anybody. Nobody's better. The second a person thinks they're better than anybody else, like they can be responsible for the United States and decide what's right for people to think and do, nobody has that right. That's not called freedom. That's called slavery, imprisonment, controlled. And people say, well, I got freedom. I can do whatever. You can't do anything you want. And you know what they're going to do? And this is a fact. They're going to charge you for air. Imagine that. Why? Because you don't have to pay it. When my friend Sean David Morton was dealing with sovereign citizens, everybody said that's not real. But it's real. But he was almost killed because of that. Meaning you don't need a driver's license. A driver's license for transportation. If you're not transporting anything, it's not transportation. And that's how it gets over on that. All right? There's many things. You don't have to pay for licenses. You don't have to pay your taxes. When you sign your tax form, you're saying you're going to pay it. That's how stupid we are. So people, there's many ways to go. Most people choose the easiest way. And the easiest way is never the right way. Ever. Creating love isn't simple. And you can't bypass anything at all when you're trying to create it. In a relationship, everything should be talked about before you get in a serious relationship. And you agree or you don't. Well, look, Richie, Mr. Wolf, you could say what you want. Atlantis was no control, period. It was the most beautiful place you'd ever want to be. All right. Aliens came down and destroyed it. They created the sex slaves, and then mankind created that by being taught to sacrifice. And then the word torture came into play. Sports became part of that. The arenas were filled with mass killers. They had alligators in there eating the people, and they did anything to amuse the people. And the people loved it. Mankind accepts bull, garbage, junk. It's not controlled either. It's new that mankind's not ready to move forward. We keep saying how much we move forward in 25 years. We do. The only thing that moves forward is the toys mankind plays with. I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about toys. Ships, cars, boats, planes. The toys that they play with, even the sex toys, the sex robots. All those things change completely. But there's only one bottom line for 90% of the people on the planet: sex. In Hindu days, the deities were all about sex, and it was about controlled sex, like Shiva, one of the most powerful deities, destroyed a whole city because of that. And all the women wanted to go, and so they cut his penis off. And that's what the whole thing of a phallic symbol became part of, and all that. It's pathetic, sick. I mean, the Hindus had to go into Kundalini energy, having sex to create energy to go to God. It's not God's fault. And it's not soul's fault. It's the programmed mind that keeps getting programmed that stops the soul from moving forward. And who's responsible for that? If you don't know, Satan is. Only. He's the one that wants to keep souls here in the lower realm. Period. Jesus couldn't take them out, and God's not going to. People, if you think Jesus is going to come back here again, why? So more people can kill him and torture him again? Why would you want to do that? Mankind hasn't changed one bit because of the 5 passions of the mind. If you learn them and really decide what they are to you, you can stop and control them. But if you give in to drinking, drugs, smoking, sex, whatever it is, it's a part of it. But the second it touches somebody else, it's dangerous to the world. Crazy people are only put in jail when they're dangerous to other people. Because when I know all about it. You want to talk about that? Anytime. When a crazy person's let out, even though they're cutting their body to shreds and doing all kinds of things, they're let out as long as they're not going out and trying to cut somebody else up. But if you become a terrorist to other people, they will keep you in jail. They will give you an lobotomy. They will do horrible things to you. They did it to my friend Sean, and he was the top psychic in the United States for a long time, from 1995 all the way until he was put in jail. He had one serious problem, bad prophecy. It causes serious damage, and they turned it into what he thought he did directly, intentionally, which he didn't. All right. The truth is out there, people. You can believe what you want. You could say this is that, this is the same. No, it's not the same. They weren't selling body parts in the old days. I mean, they couldn't do it. Now, selling a child and selling all their body parts, billions of dollars involved. Guess what? It's about money. Money is the disease that affected mankind. Going back to Atlantis, we didn't use money. We didn't bother. We didn't have to trade. We all worked with each other in a aware state. Oh, we need food. Let's grow some food. We need this. Let's do that. It wasn't like, well, I'm going to grow some peas, but I'll sell it to you for your TV. I mean, things like we would do now. And I was with the oldest Hopi prophecy from Thomas Vinyaka in the United States. I was with him right before he died. And he said, before he died, mankind's not going to be able to come out of what they're in. Meaning, if the white man doesn't unite with the red man, the world will be destroyed. And that was the Hopi prophecy. But guess what? That prophecy is as equal to the Tibetan nation. It's exactly the same. And Tibet was destroyed by China over the past certain amount of years. China owns Tibet. China controls Tibet. They killed and slaughtered many of the lamas. They burned down 250 temples. And the United States didn't help. Why? Think why they didn't help. What's going on with the world right now, people? Satan's having his happy days. Mankind will sell their soul for anything. Satan wasn't always here. In Atlantis, it did not exist. All right. The problem now is, what are we going to do in this moment? The only thing you can do is become an aware being for yourself. You're not going to change mankind. I'm not going to change mankind. But you can change yourself. Understand who and what you really are, where you're going to go, and what's going to happen then. All right. In Atlantis, we didn't speak much. We didn't have to use words. You can use them now if you want, but we didn't have to then. Why? Because you are a 30 psychic abilities, when you learn what each one of them is and how they work, covers everything. Now there's like 140 psychic abilities, and throwing bones on the ground, burning tea leaves and putting tea leaves in water and how they float. All these prophecies, and how many have helped anything? I don't want to go into that. That's a whole separate issue. This is all about not knowing who Jesus was. Jesus was the bringer of truth about God. Nobody else did. Nobody. No alien race did. The aliens screwed with the Mayans and the Aztecs, the Egyptians. They were given all false information. Half and half, just so you know. Here's the thing, people. Native people are no better than anybody else either. Their truth is so twisted. Everybody's truth is twisted. Listen to the stories. How'd you got here? Oh, if you want to hear animal stories, turtle stories, what do you want to hear? The white buffalo. I mean, I know all the stories. I saw the white buffalo born. I also saw it die. All right. And they don't even know what that prophecy means. Again, Thomas Vinyaka was the oldest Hopi carrier of the prophecy. And when he died, he gave it to James Keamy. He died. Then it was given to Grandfather David. I I have not been around native teachings because I'm in Hawaii, and Hawaii people are much different, and it's so different. They have one powwow a year, 10, 15 people dance at the powwow, and it's about 100 dealers selling stuff. It's so different. I don't dance anymore. I'm more into writing and trying to finish doing my lectures and finish what I'm doing. Trying to bring out truth about UFOs and aliens, what they're doing, what they're not doing beneficial. But here's the thing, people. We don't have time to play games. This world's going to be changed greatly. You want to stay and live in it, that's your choice. You want to leave, move on, become aware, that's your second choice. When you're an aware being, you can leave at any time. As long as you don't create karma when you're an aware being. Well, I'm aware, but I'm going to kill that person because he just did this. You can't do that. There's no breaking the boundary lines. You can't cross them. They're all locked, and you can't go beyond them. Sorry. I mean, it would be good if you could take out all the bad people, but this is hell, people. You're trying to get out, not coming in. Jesus explained that, but it wasn't written in the Bible at all. I mean, the little that he talked about Satan, why? Because people didn't understand who Satan was either. Now, if we talk about Lucifer, people, another ignorant lies that people create, he was not a bad person. Satan wasn't his son, and all those ridiculous ideas that people try to tell you. Well, I'm part Apache. I'm also part. I'd say it, but I'm not going to. I got something on my mind. I get against when we say that we're in the middle of this, right? And Jesus came, taught us stuff, and we didn't listen. I did, and I'll tell you this, which I can go into. Sorry, but I don't have time to do it today. Why I came back to planet Hell. If I was with Jesus, saw who and knew and what he was and what he taught, why would I come back to hell? I'm not going to tell you. Maybe if you come to my workshop one time, I will, but not right now. It took me about 60 years to figure that out, though. Being aware of your past lives isn't easy. Most people never get to that point. And it's critical. It's like going to school, graduating, and saying, did I go to school? What did I go to school for? Exactly. Having lifetime after lifetime not learning anything, what good is it? Well, I could build a better car than I did in my last life. I could have more women in my life. I could have more of this or more of that. Has nothing to do with soul. Well, people, I've been going for a while. All right. I hope you got something out of today. Let me just highlight this because I want to know where I'm at. If I come back to this, which I might not. Next time. But I hope you listen to some of the things I say. Don't believe it. Try to prove it to yourself. Prove anything. Prove that Tesla was not a spiritual person. He wasn't as smart as people think he was. He was closer to being evil because he knew what they were going to do with the weapons. He even said it. One of the last words he said, mankind will abuse everything they were given, which they do. All right. So people, if you're ready to move forward, move forward. You don't need anybody else. Just do it. Don't listen to anybody else, especially if they're telling you you're all this and you're all that. You're not. You're a grain of sand on the beach. That's all you are right now. When you realize you're not the grain of sand, you won't be on the beach in the pile of grain of sand. So until that happens, be aware, stay awake, be alive. Be the best you can. Don't be the guinea pig. Don't be the slave. Don't be the pauper. Don't be the good person always, because that's not the answer either. Being good is not becoming spiritual. If Mr. Gates gave all his money away to every poor person on the planet and became poor, would he be a spiritual person? Depending on why and how he did it. Well, I'll be a spiritual person if I give all my money away. That's not the answer, is it? So think about that, people. Hope you got something out of this. Again, please send this link to everybody you can, because it will be live for a while. They could take my site down or my shows down anytime. I won't mention the virus right now because they took it down the last time when I mentioned it. So I talk about what I can, what I want to, what I feel is important. And until next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. I hope you get it. Don't stop looking. Don't ever stop. Because every time you find something, it'll only help you get closer to what you're really looking for. And don't give up, because giving up means you're not really ready to go there. It's a never-ending story. God realization is forever. Reincarnation is for 125 years. Big difference. Where do you want to work from, 125 years or forever? Getting closer to God every second is incredible. So with that, people, till next time, you heard it here first.